Okay, listen, pay attention. You know, when you talk about globalization, a lot of people think about this and they think about this. They think globalization is a new word. They think it's a thing that has to do with 21st century invention. But no, when you talk about globalization, I think about this and I think about this. Because globalization is not a new thing. In fact, Africans were the first people to be globalized in the world. Between 1501 to 1867, nearly 13 million Africans were kidnapped and forced onto European and American ships, trafficked across the Atlantic oceans to be enslaved, abused, and forever be separated from their homes, their families, and their cultures. What do you call that? It is globalization. And to make you be in my page, let me give you the definition of globalization so you can know what I'm talking about. Globalization is defined as the greater movement of people, ideas, goods, and capital as a result of increased economic integration, which in turn is propelled by increased economic trade and investment. Now, this is a linchpin information. Pay attention to the words that makes up the definition of globalization. I said it is defined, that is globalization, is defined as the greater movement of people. Now, the people, Africans, were moved around the world. They were moved. They were the people that were moved. It is the greater movement of people, ideas. Africans' ideas were moved around the world. Go and read the historical, philosophical book of the lost science of Africa. You will know that that is where brain drain started, because we lost so many good minds to slavery. So, globalization is the greater movement of people, ideas, goods. Whom are the goods? Africans were the goods and services between 1501 to 1867 during the Atlantic slave trade. So we were the goods. We were sold as commodity. In fact, Africans were commodified in the markets of Europe and America. Okay, now the definition says is the greater movement of people. The people are Africans. The ideas are our ideas. The goods are Africans. And what? Capital. We were their capital in that market. So globalization, with its definition, suggests connotatively and denotatively that Africans were globalized around the world during the transatlantic slave trade. In fact, as early as 13th century, the Arabs had already globalized Africa, because the Arabs enslaved us in the 13th century. They enslaved Africans. They enslaved them in the 13th century. So when globalization is being mentioned, don't be thinking recent. No, globalization has been there. Africans were globalized around the world as beasts of no nations. You must know it. We must talk about it, and we must be aware of it consciously and subconsciously. Our children must know that the word globalization is not a new thing. It's not all about selling and goods and services of 21st century. Our ancestors were enslaved, and slavery is globalization, because human beings were moved around the world. Human beings were enslaved. They were the goods and services. They were the capital. Their ideas were taken. All right? Wisdom, Africa. Wisdom. Because liberation has come with information. We are in the war of information time. And if you are not informed, you know that you will be deformed. And that's why the modern day tanker is here to inform you. Remember, you can always request for books. Go to my bio. You will see a contact number there. Message it and tell it you need a book. And book will be made available to you within the space of time of 24 hours. Remember, the link in my bio is for my YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get lengthy and wisdomizing content. This is a crusade and not a skit. For Africa must be great again. Wisdom, Africa. Wisdom. Aha. It's a principal thing.